turn the light? Thank you. All right. Let's go straight into the word. We're just going to read Matthew chapter 15, verse 21 through 28. I'll read it for you. And Jesus went away from there and withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Actually, hold on a second. If you need a translation, I don't know where my wife is. Where did she go? She went to the room? Okay, if you need a translation, then I'm going to the room. 한국말로 들으실 분들은 저기 방으로 가세요. 네, 방에서 지금 트랜슬레이트 하고 있으니까. 집사님 안 가셔도 돼요. 괜찮아요. All right. So, verses 21 through 28. And Jesus went away from there and withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and was crying, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon." But he did not answer her a word. And his disciples came and begged him, saying, "Send her away, for she is crying out after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." And he answered, "It is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire." And her daughter was healed instantly. Now, I was going to go straight into the word, but I think God is telling me to also read the passage in Mark. This is a parallel passage in the book of Mark, chapter 7, verses 24 through 30. And from there he arose and went away to the region of Tyre and Sidon. It's the same story, but if you add both stories together, you'll see more detail. And he entered the house and did not want anyone to know, yet he could not be hidden. But immediately a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him and came and fell down at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she begged him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he said to her, "Let the children be fed first, for it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." But she answered him, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs under the table eat the children's crumbs." And he said to her, "For this statement you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter." And she went home and found the child lying in bed and the demon gone. Now, in today's passage, we read about the children's bread. What is the children's bread? What is the children's bread? Have you ever thought about this? Children's bread. Bread is something that you eat. It is food. It is something that brings life. It is for health. Food is for nourishment. Food is not for display. It's for consumption. Food is not something that we just think about in our heads. Food exists so we satisfy our hunger. Food is a necessity. It's something that's necessary. You need this. Without food, you cannot live. When we talk about the children's bread, it's something that we need. It's something that's necessary. It's not something that's optional. It's something that we cannot live without. So it is important to know that food is not just something intellectual, but a lot of Christians make it that way. We think that if we just understand intellectually that we took Jesus' food, not even close. That's not the case. We need to understand the bread of Jesus. What does that really mean? Because the bread of Jesus actually has transformative power. It changes us. What is this children's bread? Now, this children's bread is not just a sermon. It's not just a message. It is the totality, everything that's included in Jesus' ministry. Now, Jesus didn't just preach. Jesus' ministry had three things, three main things. One, he taught. Teaching is different from preaching. He taught. Number two, he preached. Do you know what the third thing is? He healed. If you look at all the gospel accounts, 1/3 of what he did is healing. And actually, he never taught or preached without healing. Do you know what the evangelistic method was for the early church? That was healing. People came to church because they were sick and they were healed. And that's how they believed. It wasn't a program-driven method. It was healing-driven. It was miracle-driven. Jesus did that very thing. He didn't just preach. He taught, he preached, and he healed. Now, in the passage that we read today, what is the children's bread? It is the healing. This woman came for healing. And Jesus said, this bread is for my children, not for the dogs. And we're going to get into the specifics for all that. But this woman came specifically asking for healing, and it's a specific type of healing. She asked for exorcism. She asked for deliverance. She asked for spiritual healing. Did you know that the children's bread actually includes this type of healing? I don't understand why the churches don't teach on this, because it is included in the children's bread. If we don't know what's part of children's bread, we're never going to ask for it. We're just going to look for the type of bread that we are used to getting. And spiritual healing is part of the bread. And I would argue it's 1/3 of the bread. Now, in this particular passage, somehow this woman knew what kind of healing that she needed. And it wasn't exactly for her, it was for her daughter. Many modern people, even Christians, have many misconceptions. And I would argue that Christians have more misconceptions than the people outside of the church. Here's what I mean. Many people say that things like this just don't happen today. Some people believe that even if it happens, even if some people are demon oppressed, or whatever the term that you want to use, even if people have unclean spirits in them, people believe that's something that only happens somewhere in the third world country. Not here, because we're too sophisticated, because we're too modernized. People believe that it happens to only those who are so mentally unstable that they need to go to some mental institutions. Like those are the type of people who would have demons in them. That's what people believe. That's not true. They may have demons in them, but it's actually very common that even Christians are demonized. Besides, it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. And people argue something that's in the Bible. How can you believe that although it's in the Bible? Well, we believe everything in the Bible, right? People are so quick to explain things away naturally. It's almost forbidden to talk about this kind of stuff, even though it's in the Bible. If something supernatural happens, people just go, I'm too sophisticated for it. Like that's for the primitive people. It's not for me. That's how the Western culture has become. But that's the opposite of biblical worldview. We tend to look at it this way. If something happens, and if we can explain it naturally, then we try to explain it naturally. If it's naturally unexplainable, then we might consider supernatural explanation. That's how we process information in the Western culture. In the biblical times, it was the other way around. They knew that there were things happening in the supernatural realm which would manifest in the physical. So they knew that there were things supernaturally happening, and then they would see the result in sickness, they would see the result in whatever they're going through, but we have a completely different worldview. Many pastors do the same. They think The supernatural stuff is just all so unsophisticated in this day and age. In the name of being intellectual, they become anti-spiritual. And that's a problem. That's a problem. Because children's bread is for the children, and yet they're not getting the children's bread because of this. Why can't we be intellectual and at the same time be spiritual? I think all Christians should be both. Both be intellectual and also be spiritual. It's not either or. It should be both and. Now, some people ask, why out of so many things in the Bible do we need to talk about something like this? Because this was Jesus' ministry, a big part, very big part. If we talk about what Jesus' ministry was like and we say we want to follow what Jesus did, well, you gotta learn firsthand what Jesus did, and this is exactly what he did. But another reason is that if we don't know this, we never ask for that type of bread, then we suffer for no reason. It's not that God didn't provide a solution, but we don't know because of our ignorance. And we never asked for it. And we suffer for no reason. And this type of suffering is not a glorious suffering for God's kingdom. It has no reward. It's totally useless. It's totally worthless. There is no reason to suffer from this. It's like an abuse. Imagine a woman getting beat up by her husband, being abused. She's not going to consider it some glorious suffering. It's the same thing. If you're oppressed by demons, there is no glory in it. It's something that we need to get rid of. I remember I was talking to a Christian leader, and he had asked for a specific type of prayer for one of the students in his youth group because that student was suicidal. And so he asked for a corporate prayer. And so I told him, okay, that student needs a deliverance. That student has a demon of suicide. That's the only way out. And he said, oh, no. Well, I don't believe in that kind of stuff. We don't, as a church, we don't believe in that kind of stuff. Can you just pray for the student, but don't pray for the demons to go? I was like, what? And I'm talking about a Christian leader. Like, what is going on here? That's the day and age that we live in. Now, the good news is that the children's bread is Jesus' healing, including spiritual healing, and everyone who desires it can get it. That's the good news. If you truly desire it, then you can get it. The woman in the story got it. How did she get it? That's what we're going to look at. How did she get it? She knew somehow her little daughter was being afflicted by a demon. And by the way, this is the second example where we see someone coming for someone else's healing. Of course, there's some other examples too, but this is the second one that we're looking at. And it makes sense that the mother is coming because if you pay careful attention last time, you know that if someone is under your authority, then your faith can basically also flow through that person too. It makes sense that the mother came because her daughter was super ill, let's say, spiritually oppressed. She was in a stage of objective helplessness. She was totally dependent on her parents. So it made sense that the mother came for her healing. Now, how does she know that her daughter was badly demonized? By the way, that's how the Greek text says it. She was badly demonized. She was terribly demonized. That's how the Greek text says it. So here's a good question that we need to ask, because to us modern people, we would never think of a demon oppression when something happens. We just don't have the category for it. We don't know how to diagnose it. How did the ancient people know who are demonized? That's probably the question we need to start asking. How did the mother know that her daughter was demonized? I mean, she wasn't lying, right? Why would anyone say my daughter is demonized? But she somehow knew. How did she know? We don't have time to go through every single symptoms and all those things. We're going to explain those things as we go on. But I'll just say a few things. There is weird behavior. Just weird behavior. Sometimes physical distortion, like moving bodies in weird ways. Sometimes it manifests through being unable to speak, so muteness. Also deafness. Also pain sometimes. We see different kinds of sickness in the Bible, and many of them were caused by demons, which is very interesting. Because if we're physically sick, we would just naturally go to a doctor. But Jesus would say, go sin no more. Also in the Bible, we see that some people were oppressed by dumb spirits. Now, don't go around your dumb friends and say, oh, you're demonized. But just know that there are dumb spirits. Sometimes it causes blindness. Sometimes the demon can temporarily take over the person's will and manifest. Sometimes it manifests through what looks like a seizure, foaming at the mouth, drooling, all these different types of things. Now, the main, litmus test for knowing when someone's demonized is through their reaction to exorcism. If that person isn't reacting to exorcism, chances are good that that person isn't demonized. But if that person has this strong response to exorcism, it just looks like somebody's just saying some words. It shouldn't bring out any reaction. But if that's causing a severe reaction somehow, that's a telltale sign of someone being demonized. As we shall see, faith is the minimum requirement for the bread. This bread is not free in the sense of effort. It is free in terms of grace. God is giving it to everybody. In terms of accessibility, everyone can get it. If you're God's child, you can come and get it. But in terms of effort, it's definitely not free. In terms of faith, it's not free. You need to have faith to receive the bread. Jesus' healing is not for those who want a quick fix. If you want a quick fix, if you think that you get deliverance and everything will be okay and you become this saint, this holy person, you're mistaken. That's not what deliverance does. Deliverance is really the starting point. That's when you realize, I thought I was living a good Christian life, but then now you realize, I hadn't even started. This woman had to pass 4 types of tests. 4 types of tests of faith. And Jesus is the one that gave her the test. There's a test of silence, test of rejection, there's a test of persistence, and then there's a test of insult. Very interesting, we're going to look at them. Now, the very first one, the test of silence. If we look at Matthew, chapter 15, verse 23, let's just look at the first part. It says, but he did not answer her a word. So this is Jesus. Look at verse 22. This is the Canaanite woman who came to Jesus, and it says, she was crying. Crying in the original language meaning like shouting out, yelling, screaming, have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon. And Jesus doesn't even answer. Just total silence. What would you do if Jesus is being silent? Many times we pray, but Jesus is silent a lot of times. What do? Do we just think about, maybe I need to pray a little bit differently. Maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. But this woman didn't change her strategy. She was crying out. You know what she did? She kept on crying out. She didn't stop. Jesus didn't answer her a word despite this woman doing all the right things. This woman asked for mercy. This woman called Jesus Lord. Now, that's a title that not everyone calls. Okay? This woman also called Jesus Son of David. She somehow believed Jesus to be her Savior. That's what this title means. Son of David. He's the Messiah. She even knew the diagnosis. She didn't come to Jesus saying, Jesus, I don't know what's wrong with my daughter, but you gotta just somehow heal her. No. She came to Jesus saying, Jesus, my daughter is severely demonized. Can you please heal her? Now, why would Jesus do this? The modern version of Jesus that people tend to think of is very warm, fuzzy, and just loving, and wouldn't even dare to do anything like ignoring somebody. But here he is, just not even answering a word. Why would Jesus do this? Jesus wants to see whether she has an unwavering faith in him. When Jesus is not answering, there is a reason. So what should we do when we don't hear from Jesus as we keep on crying? Have an unwavering faith. That's what Jesus is looking for. At the same time, Jesus also wants to see how the disciples would react. Remember, Jesus was with his disciples, right? Jesus is walking and disciples behind him. They're going together. And there's this woman, Jesus, oh Lord, Son of David, help me, help me. And she's crying, shouting, screaming. And Jesus wants to see how the disciples would react. And he's not saying anything. Now, it's a test that we're meant to pass. We're given the solution to the test. We cannot fail this test. This is written for our benefit. It's a cheat sheet. Just know that when you come to Jesus asking for his bread, sometimes he doesn't just give it right away. Sometimes he wants to test you to see whether you have a faith worthy of receiving the bread. Are you really my child? Are you worthy to receive my healing? So what is the answer? Keep shouting. Cry out louder until you get a response. She didn't have a sense of entitlement, having an attitude like, Jesus, I came, so you better heal me. You better heal my daughter. I came. I did what other people did, so I deserve a healing. Give it to me. No, she didn't have a sense of entitlement. She also didn't just ask once. If you look at the verse again, it says, she was crying out. So it was a continuous thing. She didn't just cry out, Jesus, help me. And she stopped. No, she kept on crying. She didn't stop. She wouldn't stop until she gets a response. And she eventually got a response. Now, the response that she got wasn't from Jesus. Now, here comes the second test. The test of rejection. The test of rejection. I want you to know that it is normal, very normal, that opposition and discouragement would come when you come for healing. You come to Jesus for healing and you think you're doing the right thing and you think you're just going to get it. Chances are very good that you're going to meet some resistance. Chances are very good that you're going to get discouraged. But know that it's also a test. Instead of Jesus responding to her, the disciples couldn't just couldn't take it anymore. She kept on crying and she was so loud. And the disciples eventually approached Jesus and urged him to send her away. Jesus, can you just touch her and send her away? Heal her right now? We know that you can do it. Can you just do it? Now, Jesus used his disciples' interruption as an opportunity to give a response. And I want you to know this. Jesus doesn't remain silent forever. He will respond, but he might not respond in the very beginning for a very good reason, because he wants to test your faith. Jesus doesn't remain silent forever, but he could intentionally delay answering to see what you would do. Are you going to keep asking, or are you just going to walk away? But he gives you enough things for you to keep persisting. Think about it like this. I remember when I was sleep training Grace and Ellie, which, by the way, I failed. Never worked. Turns out my children just, sleep training just doesn't work on my children. But anyways, imagine, at least I tried, so I know what it looks like. When the parents are sleep training their children, they hear the child crying, of course. It breaks their heart. The child doesn't know that his parent or her parent is listening, but the parents are listening to everything. The parents know every cry, every shout, and how long it has been. The parents know everything. In the same way, Jesus knows everything. And Jesus is not just ignoring. Jesus is waiting on purpose. That's what you do when you're sleep training your children. But again, I failed. But Jesus does this. Why? Because Jesus is faith training us. He's training us. And there is simply no other way sometimes. He hears us, but he's got to wait until we learn to do what's needed. Now, we would be very confused if we don't know this as we seek Jesus to heal us. If we come to Jesus and we say, Jesus, I come to you with all my heart. I'm so desperate and I want to make you my Lord. I want to give you everything. And Father, I want you to heal me. And I come with a genuine heart. But Jesus doesn't answer. And I only get opposition. I get discouraged by people, even through my family members. What do I do then? Know that it's also a test. It is also a test. Now, why is God doing this? Why would he do this? Because he wants to teach us that while the bread is a gift of grace, it's not free in the sense of being easy or casual. A person finds healing only when they very carefully observe what the doctor tells him to do. You gotta do what the doctor tells you to do, step by step. You cannot just obey certain things and disobey other things. No, you gotta obey him fully. If he tells you to take the medication for a whole week, you gotta take the medication for a whole week. You don't just take 2 out of 4 for 4 days, and then 3 for another 3 days. You don't just make up your own regimen. You do exactly what the doctor tells you to do in order to be healed. It's a compliance issue. A lot of times when people come for healing, they're not compliant. They're not compliant. When Jesus speaks through his word or through his servant or through the circumstances, this is what you need to do. And they say, I don't want that. I just need to be prayed for. That's what they do. But it doesn't work that way. Jesus is not about to just bypass all the tests that he has ready for you. There is no cheating him. You got to pass the test. And he's giving us the answers to those tests. How did she pass this test? She persisted. She persisted. The disciples rejected her, but she persisted. She was actually too desperate to think about the rejection. And if you're truly desperate, that's how you're going to be. You don't care about what other people say. You don't care about how other people would see you. You don't care about your circumstances. All you care about is whether Jesus would touch you. That's all you care about. She knew what she came for, and she was determined that she wouldn't leave until she gets it. And she got it. Now the third test. The third test is the test of persistence. I would call it the test of restricted mission. And here's what I mean. This time, Jesus verbally rebuffed her by saying, let's look at verse 24. This is what Jesus said to her. I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. What does that mean? Jesus is basically saying, it's not for you. It's for the house of Israel. Sorry, too bad, not for you. What would you do? You persisted through opposition. You came to Jesus. I checked off all the boxes, Jesus. Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to receive your healing. And Jesus says, it's not for you. What do you do? What do you do? Why would Jesus do this? Well, first off, Jesus indeed was sent for his people first. His mission was really for the Jewish people first. It is right for a parent to feed his children first before feeding others. But it was also a test to see whether she's got the faith required to receive healing. Now, one thing that we have to know is that it's not because Jesus didn't want to heal her. Jesus didn't say this because he didn't want to heal her. No. He wanted to heal her. How do we know this? It's very funny because when Jesus says, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Do you know where he is right now? He's in a Gentile area. He's in the region of Tyre and Sidon. That's a Gentile area. He purposely came to the Gentile area saying, I'm only sent to the house of Israel. It's not for you. Hint, hint, I'm here. We have to understand what Jesus is trying to do. Have faith. Now, why would Jesus come all the way to the Gentile area only to tell her, my bread is not for you? That doesn't make any sense. Jesus also wanted to teach his disciples. Remember, the disciples were the one telling Jesus, just send her away. Like, can you heal her? Just send her away. In the previous chapters, Jesus taught them that his mission was for the Jewish people. And he told the disciples to do the same. And yet, here he is in the Gentile area. And here comes a Gentile woman asking for healing. And the disciples probably looked at her like you don't deserve to be here. Like, we're just passing by, so leave us be. Jesus, can you just give her what she needs and just send her away? Jesus wanted to teach his disciples who's really worthy of his healing, who's really worthy of his bread. Jesus wanted her to show her faith to silence all the people that are mumbling. She doesn't deserve this. She's a Gentile. She's a sinner. Sinners don't deserve this. At least you have to be Jewish. And Jesus wants to show all of them, you're all wrong. Now, what's the answer to this test? This woman, instead of living in shame, let's look at verse 25. This is what she did at this very moment. As the disciples grumbled, this is what she did. She came and knelt before him, saying, Lord, help me. She passed the test. She persisted. There was opposition, but she said, I'm not leaving until I get it. Lord, help me. She knelt before him. That shows her humility. Here's something that I want you to know. Now, she was at a distance. She was shouting, Jesus, Son of David, Lord, help me. She's crying, screaming, shouting. And now she came all the way and she knelt before Jesus. She closed the distance. She was shouting from before, but now she's even closer. That's what you do. You persist and you get closer. She humbled herself. Now, it wasn't easy for her to do this. How do we know? Of course, it's not easy for anybody to humble themselves, but it was really difficult for her to do this because she was actually an upper class woman. Now, from the story, we just automatically assume, some ancient person and asking for healing, I don't know, must be poor and must be, it looks like a countryside and Jesus is passing by and this poor woman came, and that's probably what we think. But we're not going to look at it, but in the book of Mark, chapter 7, verse 30, we read about this daughter being made well and getting up on the bed. Now, the word used for the bed is a special type of bed that only very, very rich people had. That's how we know that this woman was an upper class woman. Now, for an upper class woman to subject herself to a Jewish rabbi, she would be made fun of by her friends and her social circles. But she didn't care because what was important to her wasn't any of those things. What was important to her was her daughter. She wanted her daughter to be healed. And she was willing to pay any price, even if it's humiliation. I'm willing to pay that price. Just heal my daughter, please. She was so desperate. And she said this, Lord, help me. Lord, help me. This is a prayer that God always answers. There are a couple prayers that God always answers. One of them is, Lord, I don't know what's wrong with me. Oh, he'll tell you. Second one is, Lord, help me. Help me. You don't have to come up with all these fancy words saying, Jesus, you're the Son of God, and you go from this place to all over the world and just praise him. And okay, that's good, but you can also make it simple. Lord, help me. I don't even know what I'm saying. Help me. I don't even know what I'm thinking. Help me. I don't even know how to pray. I don't even know how to get through this situation. I don't even know what I'm thinking through all these things. My mind is so foggy right now that I don't even know what to do. Lord, help me. I don't know how to get out of this situation. Help me. God always listens to that kind of prayer. But now you have to be willing to listen. He might speak to you through the scripture while you pray or through a servant of God. He may answer you many different ways, but you should be willing to listen. God always answers that kind of prayer. We have to beg him in humility. That's what this woman did. Are we desperate enough to beg him? Or do we treat it like, maybe if I don't get it today, it's no big deal. I can get in like next week. Yeah, if your own child is that sick, you would pray like there's no tomorrow. This shows us just what kind of attitude we need to have to receive God's healing. It's not simple and easy. You got to pass the test. There's no cheating. That's one of the reasons why I say if you're receiving the healing ministry, you got to be at this place. You don't have to convince me. You got to convince God. It's not as simple as me ministering, just doing X, Y, and Z. I have no power. God has the power. I'm just here as a mediator. That's all I do. Some people I pray for hours and hours and hours. They don't get healed. But for some others, God says just all of a sudden, just go, lay your hands on them. Pray, 15 minutes, fully delivered. I don't have the power. We have to convince God. I don't know how else to emphasize this. I say this so many times, but people still don't get it. You have to convince God. You have to move God's heart, not my heart. Move God's heart. When this woman was saying, Lord, help me, she was essentially saying, where else would I go for healing? She probably tried everything. She had money. Nothing works. Jesus, where else would I go? Only you can heal my daughter. You are the bread of life. I belong to you. I may be a Gentile, I may be a sinner, but I also believe in you. Now you would think Jesus would go, that's a great faith. I'll give you what you ask for. No, this is what Jesus says. Verse 26. This is one of the most controversial verses in the Bible. This is where Jesus goes, it is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to their dogs. Toss it to their dogs. Throw it to the dogs. Now, some people try to explain this away, saying that the word dogs is like a household pets. That holds some water, but think about it like this. Imagine you came to Jesus and Jesus said, you know, I have the bread of life, but it's for my children. It's not for my puppies. Okay, even if Jesus meant puppies, it's still offensive. It's offensive to us. It was offensive to the people then. But what's interesting is that this woman didn't take offense. This woman didn't take offense. But anyhow you look at it, this was an insult. It was an actual cultural insult. At the time, people would call the Gentiles dogs. So it was a real insult. And she knew and she accepted it. Yes, I am a Gentile. Yes, I am one of the dogs. She accepts it. In this cultural context, children represented Israel. Dogs represented Gentiles. Now, why would Jesus do this? Why would Jesus do this? Why didn't he just give her what she asked for? I mean, after all, Jesus has tested her 3 times and she passed with flying colors. Like, why doesn't Jesus already give her what she asked for? He wasn't this difficult to other people. Like, why is he being so difficult for this woman? I think Jesus knew that she had the faith. And I think Jesus really wanted to teach other people, this is the type of faith that you need. This is the type of faith that I require. This is the type of faith that opens the keys to the kingdom. She holds the secret of the kingdom, and that's the faith. That's the faith. This is the secret of the kingdom. She didn't take the insult, but humbly accepted the classification. She said, yes, Lord. And she said, even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table. Now, I want you to sit on that for a minute. What she was saying was basically this. And this is why Jesus commended her for her faith. This is why Jesus said, "O woman, great is your faith." This is why. What she was saying was that eventually Jesus' power is so great that she did not need a full loaf, full bread. I don't even need the full thing. I just need a crumb of the bread, and my daughter will be healed. How great is that faith? Just a mere crumb of his grace would be sufficient to heal her daughter. And Jesus, you still have more than enough for your children. But let me get my healing. That's the type of faith that Jesus is asking for. She's saying, I'm not even worthy to be seated at the table with you, but I want to be with you. And I have faith that you won't reject me, at least eating the crumbs that fall from the table. And I'm satisfied even with the crumbs. Faith is how you get the children's bread. Faith is how you get Jesus' healing. This one we have to look at Mark chapter 7, verse 29. This is how Jesus answered her. For this statement, now in Greek, this statement is word, logos. For this word, in other words, because you said this, these very words you said this, you may go your way. The demon has left your daughter. She received healing because of what she said. Not what she thought, not what she felt, but what she said. First off, it's very important what we say. Jesus wants us to confess our faith. A lot of times as we sing worship songs, I tell people to just confess your love. Like open up your mouth, whether you feel like it or not. No, like you have to say it out loud. There's power in your word. Now, in Mark's gospel, which we just looked at, the word, the logos, was a technical term. It was a technical term meaning the secret of the kingdom. It symbolizes the gospel message. Even the disciples didn't understand it, but this Gentile woman understood it. And that's the type of faith that Jesus wants to teach everyone. This is the secret to the kingdom. And Jesus commended her. Great is your faith. Be done for you as you desire. And her daughter was healed immediately. If you want to be healed, if you want that bread, come to Jesus. Come get the children's bread. His bread is available for anybody, but you have to come and get it. It's free, but you have to come and get it. Even the food trucks for the homeless people. It's free, but they have to come and get it. It's free, but they have to feed themselves. In the same way, Jesus' bread, it's free. We have to come and get it. We have to feed ourselves. Don't expect other people to feed Jesus' bread down your throat. Nobody's going to do that for you. Jesus doesn't want that. Jesus wants you to come and get it. Come and taste it. If you accept Jesus as your Savior, then the bread is also available for you. It's there. You can come and get it. Like this woman, persistently ask. Even if there is opposition, even if there is discouragement, be persistent. Humble yourself. Come kneel at Jesus' feet. Be desperate even for a crumb of his bread. Then you will find out that he has a whole bread of life waiting for you. Now we're going to pray. And this is how I want us to pray. Number one, for whatever reason, if you feel something is blocking you from praying, you can't like open your mouth and pray out loud for some reason, that's the demons blocking you. That's the demons blocking you. There's no other reason. That's the demons blocking you. So just hear me out. Just pray, Lord, help me. Lord, help me. If you don't know what to do, just pray, Lord, help me. And if you have just certain things that's just holding your heart, just rebuke it in Jesus' name. Come to Jesus and just get the bread. Ask Jesus to give you the faith. Give you the faith. So we're going to pray out loud. And as we do, and there's something about praying out loud. Look at this woman. She screamed. She yelled. You have to convince Jesus. So as we pray, I might walk around, and if God tells me to pray for somebody, I'll do it. But I'm not going to force myself. Don't worry about other people looking at you. Nobody has time to look at you. we're all asking for Jesus' bread right here. So just cry out loud. If you feel like something is coming out, do it. Just spit it out. Many things will happen. Don't worry about those things. And just pray. If you can just turn the light off. All right, let's pray.